Welcome back, everybody. This is Two T's in a Pod. I'm Tony,
And I'm Tralana.
and we are coming at you from the kitchen again. We just got back from our lovely weekend in the Poconos. Um, yeah, it was a good time. Um, you know, I'm a fan of the continental breakfast. That was probably my favorite part. Well, of the amenities was that all the food was included, which I didn't know that all the food was included.
Am I supposed to say something?
No, I mean, what was your favorite part? Well, actually, let's give it a little breakdown. So we went for the people that don't know what it is. It's a little resort way up in the mountains in Pennsylvania, which is quite scary to drive through. Uh, very scary. And
Why is it scary?
oh,
You mean because of the falling rock potential?
well, yeah, it's like one minute you're driving along and you look down and you're going 40 miles over the speed limit because you're going downhill.
Mm.
And then so you'll be going downhill and you'll be like, oh God, you gotta slow down. And then but then there'll be like sections where like you're struggling to get up because now you're going uphill and it's all windy roads and they're narrow and all it takes is one driver out there who had a few too many and they're all over the road and then you're flying off the mountain. So it was and it's dark. It's a scary driving experience. So it's a little resort and they've got all your little. It's adults only, which is perfect because I don't think I could have dealt with kids. There's nothing worse than families with kids on like vacations. They're the worst. And it was all adults only, and they had, you know, a lot of the amenities though you don't get to take advantage of because it's winter.
Well,
Not that I don't think we would have anyway, but like, oh, paddle boats and tennis
they
courts
did
and
have winter options like skiing and snow tubing and stuff like that, but I don't want to do any of those things
no,
either.
I'm not a skiing.
And they did have a lot of indoor stuff, but I didn't want to, like, I wanted to do some of that, but we just didn't. Like, because I don't know, we always run out of time for everything.
Well, we did trivia, which was fun. But like all the other stuff, it's like, oh, search the property for the diamonds, and then you win a bracelet. It's like
Oh no, I think
what?
you just win whatever you found. So it's like there was this diamond necklace and a diamond bracelet, and if you found them, you get to keep them.
No, that's not what I read.
That's what I
There was
read.
two diamonds.
Yeah, it was a diamond necklace and there was a diamond bracelet. That's the two diamond things. And then
No,
of those items, they were hidden anywhere on the property.
I read that there was two like fake diamonds that you had to find, and then you
I
would
don't think
turn them
so.
in for a prize.
I don't think so. But it doesn't, either way, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, you could find
That was
something.
outside too, and the property's huge. It could have been anywhere.
I don't, I think they could have hidden it inside too. I think it was like anywhere on the
Yeah, it
property,
was. Yes,
but it's like 100 some acres. So yeah.
yeah, and it was cold. Um, they had a little jacuzzi in the room, which was fun, and you know, the fireplace in the room that you could only burn fake wood and fake waxy wood, but it was fun. Um, and it was all inclusive except for booze, obviously. But yeah, you got you know 2 square meals a day, and we did have to pay for lunch. Um, some of the other stuff, like we didn't get to do the billiards, and we didn't get to do like not that I would have wanted to bowl, but that's the thing is it's like they had they had like 3 lanes.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it wasn't a lot
so
of
it's a couples resort, so I mean, like I think they kind of think that you're probably going to want to do your own activities often with, your heart-shaped jacuzzi tub and fireplace and or your own personal swimming pool in your room or whatever, room suite that you chose. I think they kind of assume that a lot of the time you're gonna be doing other activities, but then, yes, they also have mini golf and bowling and billiards and trivia, and they have the spa that you could go to, and then they had the, like, indoor swimming pool and hot tub and stuff that you could go and do. So I think they tried to cover the, like, gamut of, like, do you wanna be with your significant other and be active, or do you wanna be with them and be in the room? But, like, they weren't gonna, like, overload any one thing, like, they're not gonna have, like, a full bowling alley, like.
Well, no, I understand that, but it's like I don't think they had I don't think they had enough to go around. Is my thing.
What more would you have wanted?
Well, I'm just saying, like there if there's you know, I don't know how many people were there, but I mean there was only 4 lanes. Like even if you want
Mm,
and I don't know how it worked, but like if it was like first come first serve or if you had to sign up or something. But kind of feel like if you were one of those couples that was looking forward to go bowling, you would have been SOL because or you would have had to play with other people and fuck that. I don't want to play with other people.
yeah, I don't know.
But anyways, not that it matters. We didn't go bowling. But yeah, we did that and that was fun. And then we made our way back home. I am a little tired. Um and um and here we are. Congratulations to the insert team name here because I don't actually know who won the Super Bowl. Super Bowl Sunday. It was a good game all the way up until the fourth quarter, and then I don't know who won. I was pulling for Philly, but Kansas City's good too. Um, so yeah, that's a little update on
I didn't like it.
the poke. What didn't you like?
Everything
Everything. What?
but the Poconos
Why didn't you like it?
because it just wasn't what I wanted.
What did you want?
Not that. A shower that wasn't scalding.
Well, you're talking about like amenities wise or hotel wise. Well, see,
Well, okay, so I'm I'm a very light sleeper, and for one, they like the suites that we stayed in were supposed to be newly remodeled, but I personally felt like they did a shitty job on them. And so like the walls were like paper thin. So
sorry, there's like little dog hairs on the mic.
it constantly sounded like somebody was like coming in when they were just like moving around in the suite next door or whatever.
I I couldn't figure out if they were just like playing basketball next door or if they were like like
Ice
banging it out
Katina.
up against the wall, but it didn't. It sounded like there was people above us.
It did. It sounded like there were people above us, like we were in an apartment and there was a people
People
above us,
walking around
but there
upstairs,
was no
but
one
there
above
was nobody
us.
above
So like
us
I don't know what that
that
was
we
all
know of.
about.
Could have been raccoons or something.
Sure. The deer get on the roof. I don't know.
I
Um,
did notice, and when I went out for smoke breaks, I was trying to like be nosy, and you couldn't hear anything from the outside.
yeah, I think it's just the inside walls
But
are
when you,
paper
yeah,
thin.
when you I'll walk inside, you hear like clanging and banging and footsteps. That was weird. I heard that one night.
So I'm a light sleeper, so like that stuff bothered me. And then the first night, the smoke detector battery decided that it needed to die, and so that woke me up. And then that was like trippy because it was like beeping in weird increments. So like I would hear it, like it would wake me up and I would hear it and I would be like, "Okay, I think that's the smoke detector." And then like it would stop. And then right when I'm about to finally fall asleep, it would start again. And then I had to like wake Tony up and be like, "Smoke detector." But then, like,
I mean, they fixed it
the
like
next
the
day.
next day. Like, you know,
Yeah.
you called down and then we left for breakfast, and by the time we came back, it was fixed, which is great. But here's my thing. Here's my thing about like hotels and resorts and things like that. You it's okay. when we went to the Fan Expo,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
We stayed at a nice hotel,
Supposed to be.
right? Very expensive. As far as hotels go, it was pretty expensive. And we got none of the amenities,
No.
right? Oh, because of COVID. Continental breakfast, COVID. We have wrapped up bagels, I think they had, and like coffee. The restaurant that you look forward to, like, oh, good, there's an on site restaurant where I can eat and, I don't have to worry about traveling outside to eat or something. I have an option right here. Nope, that was closed. So you end up thinking to yourself, where did this money go? Like
Mhm.
what did we spend it on? And that's how I felt about this place was you pay all this money and the room does not look like the pictures
Mm.
because even our room didn't. There were some things that matched, but some things I was like, that's not how it looked in the pictures. The room was
Oh,
okay.
and the toddler toilet.
Oh yeah, there was a weird. The toilet was like really low to the ground.
I swear it's a toddler toilet because, like, I work in schools and whatever, and, like, when you get, like, the extra small potties for toddlers, really, for little kids, they are, and, like, I went into the bathroom and I didn't even, like, I'm just going in to go to the bathroom. I wasn't, like, staring down the toilet. So, like, when I went to sit, I, like, thought I was falling to the floor, like, I didn't know what was happening, and then finally I met the toilet, but it was, like, literally on the floor.
Yeah, thankfully, I haven't shit in a few days, so I didn't have to shit at the hotel, but
You didn't have to try the toddler
I didn't have to
potty.
shit on. I didn't have to squat, above a toilet. But, um, yeah, that was weird,
Yeah.
and it was weird because the toilet was just in its own separate empty
Yeah,
room.
which I mean, I've been in plenty of hotels that do that where they separate the toilet from the shower, from the like
Yeah,
vanity area, which is fine. So that way, like you could be showering while I'm, using the restroom, or you could be using the vanity area to like brush your teeth and do your hair, whatever, so that multiple things can be happening at once. I actually like that kind of a setup so that you can do multiple things at once, but get a real size toilet.
yeah, yeah. The room was a couple $100 more than it should have been.
Yeah. And
Like, it it was spacious, but it was not usable really like space, the way it was
yeah.
laid out.
Well, so yeah, so there were a lot of things that I didn't like about the room, and like the shower, it seemed like we kind of agreed on the fact that like we think it used to be like two knobs, like hot and cold,
Oh, yeah.
and then they combined it into one. But now, like when you turn the shower on, it's either scalding hot and you have all the water pressure, or you turn it down to like get a lower temperature, but then you lose the water pressure until there is no water
Yeah,
pressure. So you have to like choose the level of scalding that you can most handle with the least amount of, like, water pressure as well. Like, it was
yeah, the
the
shower
worst.
sucked. The shower
I
was
can't wait.
bad.
Yeah, I can't wait to take a shower tomorrow morning simply for the fact that, like, it'll be an actual shower that I can, like, feel good about because 'cause I'm not, like, sticking my head into the, like, scalding water and, like, half crying while trying to bathe.
Yeah, the shower situation sucked,
Mhm.
big time.
Yeah.
And, the bed, I actually the best part about the room was the bed.
Yeah, the bed was
The
fine.
bed was good. I've
Mhm.
slept at a lot of hotels where the beds were terrible, you couldn't sleep. The bed was fine,
Yeah.
even though it was, like, heart-shaped. Actually, I think it was just a
Actually, it was a
circle.
circle. That was a everything else was heart-shaped, but
Right.
the bed
The
was a
bed was a
circle.
circle, so that was a little weird, but, it had a good firmness. Um, and then, the pillows were fine. So I was a fan of the bed. Um, I mean, the TVs were in
Mm.
weird spots,
Yeah.
that was kind of weird, but we made it work.
Mhm.
There was the fireplace, but the fireplace, like, it used flammable, like it
The Duraflame,
Duraflame,
yeah.
and it doesn't give off you any heat, so you're not going to get any heat from it. It's just for aesthetics. But like we would have, yeah, we could have sat there and just watched the fire. Um, and they might do that in movies, but like that wasn't fun.
Yeah. And then, I mean, like, the other part that I was, like, disappointed about was on us was that, like, I wanted to take advantage and do more things like, shoot pool or, like, do the mini golf and stuff, but I was just, like, intermittently tired from, like, working Friday and then driving up there Friday night and whatever, and then just, like, you had to pre-schedule, like, breakfast and dinner, which was kind of awkward because, like, I'm not used to having to eat at specific times, like, I just wanna go when I'm hungry or, like that, like, I wanna go and do, like, some mini golf and then go there, but, like, Tony and I are big nap takers, so, like, with taking our naps and then, like, dinner being at, like, 7:30, it was like there wasn't I don't know, it wasn't, like, a good flow for us to actually, like, do other things, and, like, I wish we had been able to take advantage of more of that kind of stuff. So, I didn't like it.
Yeah. Um, yeah. It was a you would have been you're better off spending, $150 at a Holiday Inn and then planning things around it.
I
Because it's
mean, I would have rather just been here and, like, done what we always do because, I mean, that's kind of what we did, and, we don't spend $1,000. So, I would have rather just been here.
mm, yeah, yeah, it was I don't I'm not really the type of person that really gets into like those things like that, like, oh, let's sit in the big chair and take pictures. And it's like, why? I don't want to. Or like, oh, scavenger hunt for the fucking whatever. I'm not into that. Trivia I liked. I would have shot pool. They also didn't have enough tables, in my opinion. They only
Well,
had
I don't we didn't go downstairs. So, like, to
I
be
don't know what was
fair
on the other
yeah, so
side.
to be fair, we looked over the balcony to the downstairs to see the bowling, and there were, like, 3 or 4
You
pool
know
tables that
what?
I could see.
You know what it was that turned me off?
What? Oh, the staining?
This was a recurring theme for me. And I don't know if it's just because of the area. I'll explain.
Okay.
Like, certain parts of the country have a different definition of what fancy is. And like the restaurant that we ate dinner at, like a lot of people probably would have been like, "Oh, this is so fancy. Look at the." But what it really was carpet from 1978, and the food was a step above like a buffet. It was a buffet.
Well,
Well, no, no, no. It was
soup and salad
soup and
buffet.
salad bar thing,
Yeah.
and breakfast was in a buffet style, which is perfectly acceptable. Dinner was like, ooh, you have a menu, but it's like it's catering food.
Yeah.
It's like they have 100 ribeyes in the back sitting on plates with your little broccoli and whatever and rice under warmers, and it just pump it out like a wedding, like wedding food. It was a step above your normal, like, I guess, hotel food, if that's the way you want to look at it. But it wasn't like some fine dining experience.
Mhm.
But so what I was going to say was I've noticed that throughout the entire resort, and maybe COVID like set them back a little, but I didn't see anything renovated. I saw nothing that looked remotely close to renovated. The carpet was all old, the decor was old-fashioned, even the buffet, the restaurant was old-fashioned.
Mhm.
The bar and lounge that we did do trivia at looked old-fashioned. It looked I don't man, this is gonna sound I don't mean disrespect, but that resort was the perfect place for people between 45 and 60 to go who spend their days living in a double wide. And they go, "Oh, it's fancy." And they put on their best Harley Davidson t-shirts and they go out and they're like, "Oh, prime rib." And it's like, you know, or super, super young people who don't know any better, who are like, "Oh, let's go stay at the Poconos. I hear it's really nice and they have heart-shaped tubs." And it's like, "Yeah, let's go there." And they spend $1,000 and they feel fancy. It's like, I've
I
stayed
didn't feel
I've
fancy.
stayed at Holiday Inn Expresses that were nicer than this place. But again, COVID screwed a lot of places and they probably lost a lot of revenue for a very long time.
Well, I'm kind of curious because they have like 3 resorts, like the ones that we were competing against in the
Yeah,
trivia.
yes.
Like, so I'm kind of curious, like, are the other 2 resorts any better or like worse
I bet they're all the same.
or are they all the same? Like, I don't know. Like, I didn't know, you know what I mean?
Bet
Like,
they're all the
if
same.
there's like a tier system, like this one was the lower tier and that one's
Now,
the higher. I don't know.
I'm assuming they all have the same blueprint. They all have the same
I have no idea.
instead of schooners or whatever.
Spooners.
Yeah, there you go. Instead of spooners, they have a schooners, and instead of you know
Sh-
uh the champagne room, they've got the what do you call it, prosecco lounge. It's like it's the same shit. It's all the same.
Maybe.
But yeah, like when if I'm
I did like that they gave so at breakfast, well, and when we checked in, like every day they gave you a little brochure that had that day's activities on it and like the times and places. And I did like that aspect of things. Like I said, like if
but
we were
they weren't
well, they had like bingo on there.
right. They
Like
weren't catered towards younger people. Like
right.
they had some God, they had some guy playing the upside down guitar thing. I don't even know what it's. I've never actually seen this instrument before, but it's a dual. It doubles as a guitar and a bass guitar, and the guy was playing bass and melody, right? And it was impressive, but he wasn't very
I
good.
was gonna say impressive and also bad.
He wasn't very good at either of the bass or the melody. And he was an older guy. So it begs the question, A, how long has he been playing this thing? Probably 30, 40 years, and he still hasn't nailed it? Like,
I don't know.
and he's playing in front of these people, but it's like very it's just Katie, and he's playing fucking Journey's greatest hits. Don't get me wrong, I love Journey, but like and he's got this goofy like 80s puffy hair and this like hideous suit and tie, and it's like it's catered
I
towards
preferred the guy playing the piano.
and again, even the guy playing the
I
piano, he
know.
wasn't that good.
I know, but like I just still prefer that over the other guy.
You have to okay, you have to lean into it one direction or the other, okay? If you want live music, right? You either got to lean to a DJ with music and update the atmosphere and do it like a nightclub.
Well, so I'm super curious because they did have that nightclub there. Obviously,
Oh
we
my
didn't go,
god.
but
That's
like
also probably where they had bingo.
maybe. But that so now I'm like super curious, like what that atmosphere would have actually
I'm
been
sure it
like
would
if
have
we
been
had gone to
fucking
it.
awful.
I
But
don't
that's the
know.
thing is you got to lean into it. You either go that direction and have don't have this goofy fucking like ooh fancy dining experience. Throw some hors d'oeuvres out, quick and simple. Have a DJ, have an open not an open bar, but a bar. They did have a bar and have that open
Yeah.
and have the music going and people have a good time. You either lean into it that direction or you have the quartet with the bass, the piano, the guitar, and like a jazz singer. And you go in that direction. Someone playing Sinatra's hits
Yeah.
because that's still cool. But you can't have it in between where you got some guy playing the guitar, Journey's greatest hits with a quaff, while I'm over here eating, an outdated menu of shrimp fra diavolo, which was okay, but it literally tasted like they took ragu and red pepper and just went. "Blah, blah, blah, blah." That's what they did,
So anyway,
and there was sand in my muscle. there was like a big gritty ball of sand, and I was like, "What is this?" It's disgusting. That's not their fault though. That's, whoever prepped the mussels and didn't clean them out. But so I felt like they tried too hard to fall in the middle where they're like, you know,
Well, and I don't know, so I agree with your take that it was very much so more geared towards, like, older couples than us. Um, us being young professionals as we are. Um, so I think that's what it was. Like, I think that, like I said, like, if you were older and, whatever, and you wanted a weekend away with your significant other, I think that that might have been fun. You can go and play bingo if that's what you're into, or like we said, they had, like, the outdoorsy stuff if
go
you
see
were.
a hacky comic. I'm sure the
Well,
comic
yeah,
was
I'm sure the karmic
garbage.
yeah, I'm sure they were awful because 'cause we'd never heard of any of the names that were on there. Um, so, like, yeah, like, go see the comedian, go play the trivia, do the bingo, whatever, and then if you wanna be active, do the mini golf and whatever. So, like, I think that and maybe, like, 20 years from now, we'll think going there is amazing. I don't know. But at this current
Never.
age, I did not. Um, Even the things that we did use, like, I just wasn't into it. Like, well, you're way too ADHD to, like, soak in the tub anyways, so, like, you couldn't just sit there and enjoy that. Like, you were, like, all over the place. Which is fine. It's just not relaxing. Um, and then, like you said, the fireplace, what are you gonna, like, sit there and stare at the fire, the flames
If
crackle?
the
Like,
TV was in a better position, I would have been fine with watching a movie or something, or watching TV and having the fire. But the way the TV was,
yeah, it was stupid.
you had to like look over here,
Yeah. And
and
then
then the fire is over here, and
it
you're
was
like,
just a
well,
little TV too, like, it wasn't like, that TV was the smaller of the 2
yeah.
TVs.
But it was the most convenient TV to
Yes.
watch.
Yeah, no, it was, but it was the smaller of the 2, so it was, like, also stupid in that sense. I don't know. I didn't there was not very much that I enjoyed about it. My favorite part of the whole weekend was stopping at Duck Donuts on the way home. Why did you make that face?
Right. Yeah, just add it to the reasons I'm gonna fucking die at 40.
You're not gonna die at 40.
At least lose a foot.
You're not gonna lose a foot.
Yeah, we stopped at a place called Duck Donuts and had got some gourmet. You know what they taste like?
Mhm,
I've figured it out. I placed it.
mm,
There's a gas station right by my dad's house. It's a chain, but they also make homemade donuts. They have like a donut maker in the back. You could actually watch them make donuts in the morning
okay.
and taste almost identical.
Mm.
Like,
Well, we only tried 2.
I know. I meant the actual
The
the
donut? Oh,
donuts. Like you could zhuzh it up with whatever bullshit you want, but at the end of the day, that donut is the gas station donut.
I wanna try the Oreo ones,
Sure.
I
Yeah,
would say.
let's just fucking shove them all. Just eat them all. And then when I shit tomorrow, because I haven't shit in 3 days, and then it's gonna really wreck shop at home.
Sure.
So that was the weekend.
Or actually, my
What?
favorite part there was watching you open your present.
Oh, yes. We exchanged Valentine's Day presents. I mean, is it Valentine's Day? Are we considering them Valentine's Day presents?
Yeah, what else would they be?
I don't know. Anyway, I don't usually do Valentine's Day, but we celebrated. And I got a lot of cool stuff. I got like like a box of different jerkied meats, like
That are
that
alcohol
are
infused.
alcohol infused. There's like venison, buffalo, regular beef. There's a beef stick. There's jerky. There's nuggets. It's a whole thing. And we tried one of them. It was really good. And then I got a box of seasonings that were named after presidents.
That
So
was my favorite
it
part.
was it Abraham Burger
Yeah.
seasoning and George Sir Washington
Sriracha.
or something.
Mhm.
Anyway, very exciting. because um I want to try all of them, but I definitely want to try the salmon one.
Yeah, I don't
don't remember
remember what the
which
funny name
president.
was
Yeah.
with that one, but yeah.
So there was that, a seasoning kit for different meats that's named after
Which I
presidents.
strictly got because I don't even know that you'll use, like you said, you're gonna try the one, but I strictly got it because of the funny names and like, I mean, you do like to cook, obviously, but I was like, even if he doesn't use these, they're
Oh,
just
I'll use them all.
funny for the names.
I will definitely try and use them all.
But now we can put the George Sriracha on our popcorn and try the
Yeah, we give it a shot.
sriracha popcorn.
So I got that, and then I also got a make your own whiskey.
Yeah, there were two actual presents to all of this. The two that he already mentioned were just add-on silly fun things, but the two actual presents, go ahead.
Yeah, it was a make your own whiskey. So they sent a kit to start off with, very official looking. Where is that kit? Is it
In the
here?
den.
It's in the den. Okay, well, and it has like a test tube type
Do
thing,
you want me to go get it?
and
It's right out there.
um, no, it's fine. And it has different like
Blends.
blends of, well,
Well,
it
not blends.
not blends, like
Different,
different whiskeys. So
yeah,
there's like rye, like
weeded.
dry, really dry rye, weeded, just pure whiskey, like barrel aged. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to, kind of taste each individual one, and see where you land on it, and then mix them and come up with a percentage.
Your own concoction.
And then you send it into the company and they will make you a bottle based on your percentages. And then it's like, it's your bottle.
Mhm.
Um,
And actually, like once you get that, apparently we'll get like a code. And then if people wanted to buy your blend of whiskey to try your blend, like they could use that code and buy it and like it's like a whole thing.
and I bet I'm gonna make a pretty good blend. Um, so that was cool. And then to supplement that, the other big gift was a decanter set
Mhm.
with the obviously the glass decanter and then rocks glasses.
Mm.
And it is has design on it, and then it has uh, our last name and a set of ice ball makers. I have one at home, and it sucks, so I never
Mm.
use it. This one seems more of a good system where you fill it and then you put the top on, and then it makes it spherical.
It's worth a try.
Mine was like you just clamp the plastic together, the silicone, and
Mm.
then you fill it from the top, and then it like spills out and leaks everywhere. Anyway,
Okay. See what
so
happens.
I'm excited about that. And then wife got a gift certificate to her nail salon.
I got pretty nails.
Yeah.
And
Um,
I did not get a single compliment this weekend
well, yeah,
for you
because
to complain about.
we stayed away from people.
Yeah, but even when we were at like dinner, none of the servers said anything or anything like that, or breakfast, or just trivia. I don't know, anything.
Mm-mm.
Normally, when we're in the wild, or even like the girl at Duck Donuts, I don't know, nobody said anything about anything. So
Good.
it does not happen as often as he
All is right in the
says.
world. Mm.
Anyways, so what, now that we wasted a half an hour just rambling about that, what was our real topic for today? I feel like in our mega episode, you were saying towards the end that there was more stuff that you wanted to go into that we didn't.
Well, I think what spurned a lot of it was the observation that I had regarding the um, I don't remember. Did we touch on the whole masculinity thing?
Mm-mm.
So, and this is just my opinion. I know that we're in an age now where everybody wants to be equal, and I get that. I get it. But I had thought, I you know, what worries me is the generations to come. You know, I grew up in a culture where, you know, there were defined roles between men and women. There was masculinity and there was femininity, right? Um, you know, and again, I'm not like the most hardcore, like, you know, replace an engine or fix your leaky faucet or, you know, build you a house type person. But that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking more along the lines of, you know, men are starting to really lose focus on how to be masculine, and I think women are taking a lot of that away in the um in the what's the word I'm looking for? In the quest to gain some sort of what they perceive as equality when there is no equality. Equality, it doesn't exist and it will never exist between the genders. And I'm not talking about like jobs or like women and men doing, you know, that's fine. Like people can make that argument. I'm just talking about like in the instance of a relationship or the home, like inside your home. And I think that too often men are left out of the picture, or their men are pieces of shit and they abandon their children, and then those kids grow up without fathers, and that then those children become part of the system, and then it keeps cycling.
Well, I think this conversation originally came about because, like, however long ago that was now, I don't know. But when we originally had our conversation about Miley Cyrus and that whole thing and like weddings and, or not weddings, but marriages and like why they fail and, the whole like, are people staying together out of like love or for business reasons and like kind of like having a discussion of all the breakdowns. I think that this is like one of the conversations that came out of it was, why don't marriages and stuff last now? And it was, because there are not really clear cut gender roles anymore, is like kind of what we were talking about.
Well, yes. I will tell you, this is why I think this is why I think that marriages, even though we had this conversation, I told you the divorce rate's actually lower now than it
Hmm.
was in the late 90s.
Yeah. Which I was surprised to hear
Right.
because I didn't think that would be the
Yes,
case.
the divorce rate is lower now than it was in, like, I think I looked up 1999,
Hmm.
because it was because social media, the internet came along.
Hmm.
And once you got a taste of that, and there's no going back. But I do think that even though maybe the divorce rate is lower, I also think that, well, okay, this is two separate things. I don't think people are getting married as much as they used to.
Yeah.
I think people are waiting longer periods to get married, or they're just not doing it anymore.
Well, so I don't know I don't know that you, like, watch like, the things that I post or whatever, but, like, I had just posted a video on Face I assumed not. I had just posted a video on Facebook the other day, and it was a lady, like, kind of doing, like, real talk about marriage, and she was saying, in her little spiel, she was like, "I love my husband, but let me just tell you, if he dies or this doesn't work out or, like, whatever," she's like, "I'm not doing it again." And, um, and she, goes on to say that, like, marriage is really difficult and it's a lot of compromise and a lot of forgiveness and a lot of, all these things. And, like, you have to understand that you can't be selfish and you can no longer make decisions without considering how it affects the other person and things like that. And a lot of people aren't willing to like give up. those independence things because, like, I mean, by nature, a lot of people are very selfish. That's just kind of like, I mean, it's survival of the fittest kind of thing. So it's, can you put someone else first and really consider their needs and, like, let them in that capacity, and if you can't, then you shouldn't be married, but also, like, most people don't wanna do that more than once, if at all, and so, like, I think the same thing, like, if anything ever happens between you and I, whether it's that you die at 40 because I keep feeding you all these fattening things, or, we end up getting divorced or whatever, I wouldn't I wouldn't do it again, like, thankfully, my first marriage was very quick and, painless, so to speak, like, it wasn't a long, drawn out thing, because if it had been, I probably wouldn't have wanted to do this marriage, but, like, yeah, I wouldn't wanna go through it again because, I mean, we've kind of talked about how, like, neither of us would really wanna have to date, now even, and because it's miserable out there, like, people suck,
Well, yeah, well, that's part of the reason it's
and so
miserable, but yeah.
right, well, that's what I mean, so, like,
I
it's
wouldn't even know how to navigate that.
yeah,
Am
it's
I
so
is it okay for me to pay on the first date? Am I not? Like,
well,
what do I wear? Like, what can I talk about? Like, should I open the door or is that condescending? Should I, it's like there's so many women have entered the age, and I don't want to sit here and sound like a misogynist or anything, but
too
really,
late.
but it's really true. Like women have entered this age of like unrealistic expectations,
Well,
unrealistic standards, and unrealistic expectations.
and I think there's a problem because I think that the younger generation is that way, but I think that people like my age
Oh,
are still
I think our generation eh, is is greatly affected, but I agree that the younger generation is in trouble. But
I think
I
it's
think there's still a lot of people in our generation that are
well,
wise enough. But
mm, I don't know. I think that people my age are not. Like I'm still well, and I also just like old school things. So like I would still like, chivalrous things like you opening the door or like whatever. Like so but I think that, like, anybody, like, in their 20s or in maybe even early 30s, it's very different where, they're kind of like it's a double-edged thing where they, like, want all the chivalrous things, but they also want,
they want
to
this
be
the guy that's 6'2"
well, I was gonna say they
who
also want to be independent and whatever, so, like, it doesn't
I'm
always
sorry, there's little dog hairs and they're bothering me.
match up. Um,
Well, I think that yes, but I think, men and women are so different on the scale of dating. I'm not saying men don't do it too, but I think the younger generation's in trouble because they're bombarded via social media and television too, if they still watch television and movies, media of what a man is.
mhm,
Now, my generation, we used to call it the Disney effect, but I don't think it's so much the Disney effect. But but I had to go through a generation of dating where people thought that they were all entitled, they were all Sleeping Beauty, and they all got their Prince Charming, and this is how love is, and you get swept off your feet, and and that's just not the way life works. I think the younger generation now, they're bombarded with so many, you know, actors, good-looking people, like, they don't have an accurate representation of what I got news for you, everybody. This is your average man in the United States. Right here. Belly, okay? Moderately attractive, you know, maybe I might even be slightly above average. Isn't that's also a crazy thing. I'm probably slightly above average what most guys are out there. And that's the point is that women think that I wish I had this. I should have saved the statistics for the podcast. But didn't we go over it on the other podcast?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The percentage of men that are over 6'2" or whatever.
I don't think we ever I think I don't think we ever talked about that in the
So
podcast.
there was this really good YouTube show, and I don't remember all of the percentages, but here's the basic gist. Okay, the guy on the show asked the woman. We could probably find it and play it. Maybe we will next time. But he said, "Okay, what are your qualifications? What are you looking for in a partner?
And how
What
old was this
what
person?
early 20s?
So
Okay,
that speaks for itself.
exactly. Like, how are you swiping? Like, what are you swiping?" And he's like, first question was like, "How tall? What is the absolute minimum?" And every woman on that panel, almost every woman, was like 6 feet or above. And it's like, okay. It's like, how much money does he need to make? One of them was like, I don't know, like 200,000. And then another one was, 250. Another one was half a million. And then one of the girls was like 75,000, you know. And then it was you know, uh kids, and if he has kids. So, but the point of the whole thing was, like, out of the population, I think under 10% are above 6 foot tall. Under 4% uh, make over $45,000. The median income in the country is like $45,000. And then, you go into the no kids, never had kids, and in shape, not obese. So the man that these people are looking for is 0.0004% of the population, and then they wonder why they can't find, the right guy. It's because he doesn't
Well,
exist for you.
so sure, but, like, not everybody has those standards in the first place, like, I didn't when I was a
Well, no, but
twenty-something-year-old, but no, I'm just saying
this
and
was
but
a good
also
sample size, a handful of women
sure,
in their early
sure,
20s, mid
but
20s.
also, what I was also gonna say is besides the fact that, like, I didn't clearly fit that mold when I was 20, but as you get older, what you're looking for matures and changes because you realize that, looks and money and all of those things can come and go. Like, none of those things are for sure. So, like, for me, connection is everything. Like, I don't give a shit what you make. Like, I made enough money to take care of Giuseppe and I on my own. So I don't need you for your money. Like, I think that you are very attractive. Obviously, I say that all the time and whatever, but like I also understand that there's going to come a point when you're going to be old and wrinkly and I'm probably not going to think you're
No,
attractive
I
anymore.
won't be old and wrinkly.
Well, whatever.
I'll be dead.
Sure. Then you won't have wrinkles, you'll just be a skeleton
Correct.
in my
I will
closet.
have no skin whatsoever.
Right. Anyways, so no, like I understand and like jobs come and go, like things happen. Like that's why like people, if you're married to somebody for money and they get fired, that's why these guys like commit suicide and like whatever because they can't handle the fact that, their life as they know it has come to an end and like maybe that does mean they're going to lose their, their wife or whatever because she can't handle, being with somebody that doesn't, make a $500,000 a year, like what the fuck ever it is. So I think that people's um things that they're looking for in a relationship change over time and like emotionally immature people, sure, it's all about looks and money and whatever. But as people grow up, they realize that what's going to get you through and actually make you want to be married to this person, God forbid you live to be 90. I don't want to live to be that old. But God forbid you do, you have to have something behind that that's not money or looks because those things are probably going to be gone by that
But
point.
the problem that I saw in this was the difference is these girls weren't like,
Well, no, they were probably ugly.
no, no,
Well,
no,
like average.
they were fine, but that's not what I'm saying.
Oh.
Is that they weren't gold digging, like, on they honestly inside thought that that is the average.
Well, and that's the other thing is, like, so if we took I mean, we've said it before, if we asked our 3 boys normal questions about, like, what things cost or, what they would have, like I mean, Giuseppe might, he's
Well,
probably the most realistic out of the 3.
yeah, but they're children.
But
They
they're
don't know.
right, but when do you think that they get that knowledge? It's not like when you turn 18, it just like downloads into your brain. So, like, life experience, like, these people may have been sheltered and from like upper, middle class. So they just
I
assume everybody makes what daddy
I think
makes.
all of the girls that were on this panel were either hostesses or
But that doesn't reflect
no,
what
no,
they're grown up around.
part of the problem with well, part of the reason why they thought that this was the average was they all worked on in Vegas on the Strip, and all they were bombarded all day every day with good-looking people.
Right. So again, like, circumstantial things
So they
make a
thought
difference.
that was the average.
Right.
So I understood that, but that is what I'm saying is when you're younger, even younger than that, and now this generation that's growing up, they're being bombarded with these things on TikTok and Facebook, and they're looking at these reels, and they're looking at these people who are like, making, oh, hey, this is my Lamborghini and home, but they don't know that the Lamborghini is a rental and the house is a rental, and that
Mhm.
and that they're taking pictures in front of in New York or whatever with a Balenciaga bag, but on the other end, you don't know that it's empty. He paid $5 for the bag, and you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, they're being tricked into thinking
Well,
that
because
this is your baseline average.
right,
And
because
then they get out in the real world and they go, "Why are these people so fat and ugly everywhere? Who are all these people from TikTok?"
well, also, it's hard because, I mean, obviously everybody posts their best. So, like, most people, aren't posting, their shitty experiences and whatever. So it's also setting unrealistic expectations in every regard in that sense because, people aren't going to post, about, I mean, well, some people do because they're weird, but like, they're not gonna post, like, that they're having fights with their significant other or, like, I think there is one lady on TikTok who, like, goes around and shows how messy her house is, and, like, she got, like, TikTok famous because of it, because, like, people liked the, like, realism to it that they're like that she's like, "This is what my house actually looks like." Like, I'm not one of those people that, like, cleans up and, like, whatever to make these TikToks for you. Um, so, like, other than people like that, like, there are a lot of people who are, like, very curated in what they're showing you in even like that, like, in whatever they're making, and so I think it sets, like, unrealistic expectations because it's like, "Oh, well, everything is, just so," and, like, whatever, and that's what I need to, like, make myself look like or whatever, so I think that that also plays into it. But I also think, as far as like you were saying, like, broken families and homes and whatever, and like dads either just, being pieces of shit and not being there or whatever the case may be, that kids are growing up without father figures. And I have to say, I used to be a big um proponent of, that I could raise Giuseppe, all by myself. And it's not that I didn't want him to have a male role model because I did try to expose him to, like, he had good soccer coaches or he had like the pastor that I, found when I was like in high school or whatever, which was my best friend's dad, like, I'm still close with him. And so, like, I would take him over to Pastor Dean so that he could have, like, a relationship with him. So, like, he had like good male figures in his life. Um, but we kind of talked about that, like, because Giuseppe has spent so much time with me, he does have a lot of like very feminine qualities to him, because like I take him and we get our nails done together and whatever. Just because when he was like tiny, like I had him all the time, so I couldn't go without him. So like he would sit there and get his nails done and whatever. And now he's 13 and he still gets his nails done. So like there's a lot of things that like are more, feminine about him because that's just how he was raised. He was raised with a mom, and like his dad gets him, but like him and his dad don't get along and whatever. So like he doesn't pick, his qualities up or whatever and things like that. So I think that that's also another factor, and that's something else that we had, like, kind of talked about that will, like, when Giuseppe grows up and has, a girlfriend or and wife and whatever of his own, will play a part in how that dynamic works. And so like that was part of what we were talking about too in terms of like marriages working out is like the dynamic between the husband and the wife and whatever. And so like I do think that um that boys growing up without strong father figures will play a role in how that pans out because while I obviously, think that I'm a good mom, there are just things that I'm not a boy. Like there are just things that like I will never instill in Giuseppe because I'm not a dude.
Yeah. Well,
So,
there's a lot of things that, like, boys will pick up on environmentally.
right.
Not it doesn't have to be direct.
Mhm.
It could just be, learned through their environment. You know, again, I wasn't there a lot for the first many years of my oldest life. You know, a lot of it was my fault. A lot of it wasn't, but I can't would never place sole blame on anybody. It was a bad situation and it was, me having, a child very young, and I was dumb and didn't know what to do and how to make things work. And, it was a lot of stuff. And, if I knew now, then, that would have went differently, but I didn't. So, it, I think that a lot of things that he's going through right now are probably do stem from the fact that I wasn't I wasn't there. And I've been trying to, now that he's older and no one can no one can stop it anymore. I'm trying to rectify it, but it's not so much too little too late. It's just there's no way that anything could be corrected now for then. So it is what it is. But and don't get me wrong, I love my son no matter what, whatever issues or things that he's going through, nothing will ever change that. But I think some of it probably wouldn't be a thing right now if
Mhm.
so. I'm a living example of what I'm talking about, and that's why I feel that way. But to go back to the the masculinity thing and
Mhm.
the femininity is the lines are getting so blurred now. Like the dating scene that we talked about. Like you don't know what you don't know what you can and can't say, what you can and can't do. You know, flirting. Like God knows if I feel bad for anybody out there that's single that's trying to flirt. You can't even flirt anymore. You'll get canceled like that.
Mhm.
Like not that I'm pro cat calling or anything, or but you can't do things like that anymore. You can't compliment a woman's, you know, like skirt. Like, wow, that's a really nice skirt today, Janet. Well, nope, you're fired. Like you can't do that. Like, and it's like, well, what can you do?
Well,
Like, well, what,
I think that I think that it's rough in that regard because I mean, we've had this conversation that when we've talked about the whole compliment thing and whatever in the first place is that a lot of people and I don't even know like I don't know how to say it, but like people are generally just not polite. So like when you meet somebody that has like general social skills or politeness about them and like talks to you like, not to be, like, arrogant or ignorant, but, like, if a man approaches me and talks to me in most any capacity that is, like, generally friendly, I'm probably going to assume that he's trying to flirt with me. And I don't mean that in like a cocky and whatever way. It's just that is the nature of the beast in today's day and age because people just generally aren't nice like that. So any kind of like complimentary friendliness automatically falls in the realm of it's going to lead to him like trying to get my number or ask me out or whatever. Now, are there people out there that are not? Sure, but like that's like rare. So more often than not, the assumption is that like if somebody's even remotely friendly or acknowledging or whatever, that that is a sign that they are in some form interested. And so I think that's also a hard thing because like you really can't talk to the opposite sex without them getting the wrong opinion.
Yeah. I mean, now you have to go up to somebody and be like, "Would it be okay if I complimented you on your May I compliment you on your hair today?" "Yes,
Yeah,
you may.
I
Your
mean,
hair looks very beautiful today."
sure. I mean, like, just to give like a weird example, like back when I worked at Rutter's, there was a couple that always came in and like I'm pretty good at reading people. So like they always came in and I always got this like vibe that the girl didn't like me and I assumed slash understood that it was because she thought in some way that like our interactions were like me showing any kind of interest in her man. And like all I was doing was ringing them up and saying like have a nice day. Like I didn't do anything weird or like whatever. I think like I may have like made a joke or two like somewhere in there just to make like my
Oh,
night
so you
better.
were flirting with
I
him.
was not ever
Truth comes
flirting.
out.
No. And so in the
Was this while
end,
I was, around?
yeah,
Oh, I see.
I was not flirting. And
Mm.
so I don't flirt. Um, I had you. I was trying to flirt. I was either trying to flirt with you or I had you, so therefore no. Anyways, um so in the end, the two of them broke up.
Doesn't even matter?
Right. It doesn't even matter.
In the end.
Yeah, I knew where you're going with that.
Well, just in case. Okay.
Okay. Anyways, so the two of them ended up breaking up and like he came in and I rang him up like always because I was the only person there that could. And he like literally tried to like hand me his phone and like I'm dense. So like I was like, what are you doing? Like why are you handing me your phone? And he was like, you put your number in it. And I was like, "Oh, no, I've got a boyfriend." And whatever. And so like he
It's funny, I've never
obviously
heard this story.
cuz it wasn't really relevant. But anyways,
Oh, so now we should only tell each other things that we think are relevant.
no.
That's weird.
I probably did tell
No,
you.
never told me that. Okay, go on.
Anyways, no, I know I did actually, because I didn't tell you
No.
the girl part.
Oh,
I told you him asking me to put my number in his phone. Yes, I did, because I know I did. That I would never not tell you. Anyway, I did, and because that's very relevant. Anyways, so he like tried to give me his phone to put my number in, and I said no. And then like a week or two later, I saw them like back together or whatever. So like it was arbitrary. But just to say, like, I wasn't doing anything other than ringing these people up, and they both got the wrong impression out of it. So I think that to my point, it is very easy for people if you're even if you're just like remotely friendly, like have a nice night, like whatever, for them to like misinterpret because most people are assholes and like don't are not friendly. So anyway.
well, on that note, we're at time.
Okay.
Next week we'll be coming at you from Chi-Town.
Yeah.
It should be good.
For some President's Day weekend
Wow.
shenanigans.
Yes, I'll use my president flavored spices.
Oh, I hope you do.
Yeah. All right. This is Two T's in a Pod. I'm Tony.
And I'm Trelana.
We'll catch you next time.
Bye.